Welcome back to episode 2 of Shaner'S podcast. What? I blew that. Oh, let's leave it in. Shaner'S Rant. I got podcasts on my mind because this is the third one today. Anyways, it's a rainy day, so I've got nothing else to do. I tried to do housework today, and the place is just, I couldn't be bothered. Anyways, let's get right into it. Mr. Andrew LAWTON, let's go, brother.
One thing I understand about safeguarding against frauds and scams is that it's very much a multi-layered effort. There are individual decisions people can make to protect themselves, and then at the system level, we also have protections that are needed. And I'm just wondering, in that context, given that the security work you do, what caution could be given to the government in the context of Bill C-22, the Lawful Access Act, which actually requires the insertion of backdoors into what are right now secure. And just thinking of how that would affect people's vulnerability to bad actors using those same back doors instead of just law enforcement.
My apologies for the internet connectivity issue. I'm very concerned around proposed backdoors. What we have seen in the industry for decades now is well-intended efforts to create vulnerabilities inside systems, which inevitably are used by bad guys to get access to that data. We saw this most recently in the United States with a nation state that was able to compromise the lawful access in the telephony system in the United States. So I would focus more the government's attention to how do we build stronger systems across the board. There are definitely technologies. I mentioned passkeys, as well as phishing resistant or spoofing resistant communication channels. There's absolutely newer technologies that can make a material impact on reducing fraud. And I think that we should start there as opposed to trying to weaken systems.
Exactly.
And I think if I extrapolate from what you're saying, or perhaps try to tighten it up in a way that other people could draw from this, any vulnerability that might exist for the good guys is also there for the bad guys. Is that an accurate summation of what you're saying there?
Very accurate, sir.
Okay. So with this bill, I can't talk anymore. Why do I do this? With Bill C-22 is what I'm trying to say. Trying to build a backdoor into all of these programs, the software, all this stuff, like, it makes no sense. First of all, it doesn't exist in the first place because it makes all the apps, everything that you use, your iPhone, your Facebook, your X, Twitter, whatever you do, your TikToks, all this stuff, makes it all vulnerable. And we're trying to live in a world, a technological world, where we don't have these vulnerabilities. And yet our government wants to make sure that all these companies insert vulnerabilities so that they can spy on you. Makes no sense, and they're not going to go along with it. And that's basically what this guy is saying. So, if it's not already there, if they're not, that's if you believe that there's not already spying things going on. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But if you're led to believe that they don't have the ability to spy on you already, why then make it a thing? Why make that happen? They'd be able to actually turn on your microphone and camera on your phone and record you wherever you are. They find you wherever you are. Yeah, I've got nothing to hide, but it makes no sense. Yes, there's got to be ways of cracking down on criminals, but you can't turn everybody in Canada into a criminal. I don't see these companies wanting to go along with it. It just makes it. I keep saying the word vulnerable, but it is. The hackers will get all the information, and you trust the government to protect you? No. They can't build a road. This is bullshit. Anyways, moving on. This was a post by Mish Destasi. Thank you, Mish Destasi. Anyways, I had no idea about this. And the government changed your gas this summer. I assume this is true. Didn't know anything about it. Let's give it a listen. This is how the changes of the gasoline affects your vehicle.
The government just changed your gas, and it could destroy your engine this summer. That cheap gas at the pump, the government just quietly changed what's inside it. And if you're driving this summer, you need to hear this. The government just approved E15 gas nationwide. They're calling it unleaded 88. They say it's cheaper. They say it saves you money at the pump. What they're not telling you is what it does to your engine when it's 100 degrees outside. Let me break this down so it actually makes sense. Regular gas you've been pumping your whole life, that's E10, 10% ethanol, 90% gasoline. It's been the standard for years. Your car knows it. Your engine was built for it. E15 sounds almost the same, just 5% more ethanol. No big deal, right? Wrong. Here's the first problem. Ethanol evaporates faster than gasoline. And in summer heat, we're talking 100, 105, 110 degrees, that ethanol starts turning into vapor inside your fuel lines before it even reaches your engine. That's called vapor lock. And when it happens, your engine gets starved of fuel. Your car stalls on the highway. It hesitates when you press the gas, or it won't even start after sitting in a hot parking lot for a few hours. This is literally why E15 was banned during summer months. The government knew this. It's not a conspiracy, it's their own science. They just waived the rule to lower gas prices because of the Iran situation spiking oil costs. Your wallet wins, your engine loses. Here's the second problem. Ethanol absorbs water out of thin air, literally. It pulls moisture through your gas cap, your tank vents, right out of the atmosphere. The more ethanol in your fuel, the more water it pulls in. And when too much water gets in, the ethanol and water separate from the gasoline and sink to the bottom of your tank. That's called phase separation. Now you've got a layer of water sitting in your fuel tank, getting sent straight to your fuel pump, your fuel injectors, your engine. Water in your injectors means corrosion, misfires, clogged fuel filters, parts that cost hundreds, sometimes thousands, to replace. E10 does this too, but E15 does it faster and worse, especially in summer humidity. Third problem, ethanol is corrosive. Over time, it eats rubber, seals, gaskets, fuel hoses, the stuff holding your fuel system together. E10 does this slowly over many years. E15 accelerates it. If your car is older, especially pre-2001, this isn't a slow burn. This is active damage. And here's the kicker on mileage. Remember the last video. Pure gas gets you 30 miles per gallon. E10 already drops you to about 29. E15 drops you a little further. So the cheaper gas actually makes you burn more of it to go the same distance. The savings at the pump shrink fast once you do that math. So what do? 1. Check your car's owner manual or the inside of your fuel door. It will tell you if your car is E15 or flex fuel approved. If it says E10 only, do not pump unleaded 88. 2. If you're in a hot climate this summer, even in an approved car, be aware. Don't let your tank run near empty in extreme heat. A full tank leaves less airspace for moisture to enter. 3. If you accidentally put E15 in an older car or a car that's not rated for it, don't panic. Drive it. But when it hits half a tank, fill it back up with regular E10 to dilute it. 4. Avoid E15 in motorcycles, boats, lawnmowers, generators, anything with a small engine. It is not approved for those and will cause real damage. The government is pushing E15 to lower prices because of a geopolitical crisis driving up oil costs. That's the real story. Your gas pump just became collateral damage in a global energy war. Protect your car, read the pump label, know what you're putting in your tank. Because cheap gas that destroys your engine isn't actually cheap.
I had no idea. I watched that a few days ago. I've been meaning to share it, just never got to it. So, if I'm wrong with this, somebody went through the trouble of making this up, so I guess it's the truth. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But there you have it. It's up to you to believe or not. I trust the source that shared this. I won't say why, to protect the source. So, but I trust the source that shared this. And we're moving on. Mr. Ron Butler, USA, Bank of Canada announcement.
Okay, Bank of Canada, no change, no change. By the way, again, this is early in the morning. The bank's not really going to announce till 9:45, but we all know what it is. It's no change. Okay, so before I get into the why, I want to talk about, hey, Ron, in December last year, and in January this year, you said summertime they're probably going to drop rates because the economy's going to be in the shitter. Well, the economy definitely is in the shitter in Canada, but they can't drop rates because of the war. Oh, Ron, you should have known about the war. And my response to that is, no, fuck yourself. Nobody knew about the war. Oh, I knew about the war. Sure you did. Sure you did. Fuck off. So, yeah, the war has killed all the chance of a rate decrease. I'll tell you straight up, if there was absolutely no war in the Middle East and the price of gas was like, if the price of oil was like $48 a barrel, there'd probably be a rate cut. There'd probably, because you get falling GDP. Yeah, the job numbers were up for one report, but like the Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklin, he understands a weak economy. He keeps talking about a weak economy. He keeps talking about things not being good in Canada. I would say to you, because if there was no gas price increase, inflation would be down significantly. No fertilizer increase like we had, no diesel. We've had all those increases. They're coming in. They're going to raise everything, particularly food. Food's going to go up more. So, yeah, Tiff Macklin probably would have dropped the rate. But we are where we are. We got a war going on in the Middle East. It's that simple. So, okay, what happens next? Probably nothing. Probably nothing again. Probably the next meeting at the end of July is a pause. But for today, a pause, and it was always going to happen. It's been in the cards for a couple of weeks now when that terrible, terrible GDP report came out. So this is where we're at. No change. All rates stay the same. On the variable side, all rates stay the same. And what happens in July? Probably exactly the same thing.
Ooh, more thunder. And we're back. This is a video from Polyev, June 10th, so I'm a few days behind on this one.
And today we got some terrible news from United Way. Financial anxiety has surged across Canada with a 6-month spike as more people struggle to keep up with basic costs. 2 in 5 people in Canada are struggling to put food on the table. 40% are losing sleep, wondering how they'll stretch their paycheck. The number of people gripped with anxiety when thinking about personal finances has surged 60%, up 5 points in just 6 months. The story behind the data is people having to make difficult choices, losing sleep over bills, increased family stress, struggling to focus on work, or going without food. And I quote from Dan Clement, "This is not a crisis on the horizon," he says. "It is happening now in communities across the country." 38% of Canadians struggle with food insecurity after a year of Carney. And 1 in 5 report that all the food in their home was eaten with no money to buy more. Mr. Carney, do you know what that is like when somebody opens their fridge and finds it's empty and then checks their bank account app and finds that there's no money to buy more food? And then they find out that their local food bank is among the 20% that literally ran out of food. What do you do then? The data reveals, and I'm quoting here, financial stress but also the speed at which it is intensifying compared to polling data in 2025. The number of people in Canada who report they could cover basic expenses for only 1 month or less before falling into debt increased by 4 points to 46%, almost half of Canadians, Mr. Carney, after a year of your leadership. 34% know someone close to them who has experienced poverty, up 5 points, and it's getting worse. This is the human cost of Mark Carney's Liberal recession. There are 20 countries in the group of 20, the G20. 20. 19 of them are not in recession. One is, and that is after 1 year of Mark Carney as Prime Minister. This is consistent with his track record of leaving a trail of tears wherever he goes. He went to the United Kingdom, where he was a disaster. He caused an economic meltdown in that country, caused the housing crisis, caused the worst inflation in the G7, and then, of course, he left to become a corporate power broker, where he took government handouts from working-class taxpayers for green scams and then put the money in offshore tax havens, always making others pay for his mistakes, and they are paying. Just 2 days ago, CTV News reported more people living out of carpool lots. As people struggle to make ends meet due to the rising cost of living, some people are now finding refuge in short-term parking lots. They're living in RVs, Mr. Carney, in parking lots at Walmarts and other public places. CTV reporter counted 10 to 20 trailers at one carpool lot because people cannot afford homes.
Wow. Wow. It's getting really bad. And yet our Prime Minister laughs at this shit in Parliament. Doesn't take it seriously. He laughs. And if you don't believe me, there's clips of it. Just unbelievable. But it's not all Carney's fault. I mean, like, sure, the last year he's done nothing to help. But had 10 years of Trudeau. 10 years of the Liberals. 11 years of the Liberals. This is what you get. But let's send another $100 million over to Palestine, eh? Why not? We don't need it here. And we're back. Was I gone? Yeah, I was. I actually had to leave and go drop off a vehicle at the shop. Anyways, gonna end with a video. It's about 5 minutes long, but I think, now I know, on one of the older episodes I played this video, but because Kuzma deadline is coming up, it's worth playing again, because this is how the Americans feel about Canada. So it gives you their perspective about us, and this is not Trump, this is others from the U.S. So let's give it a listen.
Now for 5 minutes. I would just want to say thank you so much, Ambassador Greer, for being here and being so responsive to me and my staff. And as you know, the top trade issue in my district in Northern New York, New York 24, is the relationship between the U.S. and Canada. From tourism to agricultural markets, commodities to wine and manufactured goods, it's a huge issue. And Canada is a top market for my district. However, Canada has long discriminated against certain industries in my district, and that is what I want to focus on today. I got a couple quick things, but let's start with dairy, and we've talked about this before. As you recall, probably my district is the 5th largest dairy producing district in the entire United States. For years, Canada has rigged their system to prevent U.S. dairy producers from fair access to Canada's markets. This year's National Trade Estimate Report, as every year's report details, Canada's market manipulation and unfair treatment of U.S. producers is still evident. The U.S. has fought for years to gain access to the Canadian dairy market, and yet Canada continues to violate USMCA and the spirit of its dairy commitments. Have you and your team raised...
Now, let's pause it right there. So, this is why they put tariffs on us, is we violated the USMCA. or that's how they call it. We call it Kuzma. So, not only does the U.S. violate things, but Canada violates. And we have always violated when it comes to dairy. And we violate when it comes to the size of plastic containers. Anyways, we'll continue.
These issues with our Canadian counterparts thus far, and have they been constructive in helping all of us resolve this issue with our friend to the north?
We have raised it repeatedly and frequently over the past year. Our Canadian counterparts have indicated as a general matter they're happy to talk to us about adjustments to USMCA and different things like that, but they have made no commitments on this front at this time.
Well, that's disappointing. So let's shift to wine, another issue detailed. Every Canadian province, with the exception of Alberta and Saskatchewan, has ceased distribution. Every Canadian province, with the exception of Alberta and Saskatchewan, has ceased distribution of U.S. wine and liquor products, including Ontario to the north. This is distorting the market, causing immense harm to our wine producers in the district. And have you and your team raised this issue as well with our Canadian counterparts, and have they been trying to help us? Have they been constructive in this issue, much like with the dairy issue?
Well, it's at the provincial level, right? So we hear from the federal government of Canada, well, it's the provinces, and then we do have two provinces who don't have this. That being said, I think we're kind of at the end of our rope in just asking for them to do this. Think about it this way. There are two countries that have retaliated economically against the United States in the past year, the People's Republic of China and Canada. So that's kind of the company that they're running in. So my sense is there may have to be an enforcement action to deal with this issue on wine and spirits in Canada.
Thank you for that. Let's hope we can resolve that. And one last issue I'd like to discuss with is the Canadian prohibition on bulk imports of fresh fruit and produce. My district is the 19th largest fruit producing district in the nation and the 21st largest vegetable producing district in the nation. Once again, as detailed in the NTE, Canada severely restricts imports of bulk fresh fruits and vegetables. Have you and your team raised this issue with our Canadian counterparts, and where are they with this issue as well?
We thought this would be an easy one for them to fix. They've refused to fix it. It's in the national trade estimate. It has been for a long time. It's one of those crazy things when you hear that it exists. People say, oh, well, Canada, they're our best friends. But then they do things like this where you can't ship fruit if it's in a package above a certain size. It doesn't even make economic sense. So we've raised it with them. We'll continue to do it.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I've spent my whole life going back and forth to Canada. I'm a curler. I also graduated from the Silver Broom Curling School. I showed my horse up in Canada and in Toronto. And, you know, our Canadian counterparts have come to meet with us frequently. They talk about us. They want to talk about the tariffs. However, they don't appear willing to actually address this issue as you've described. And we really need to really forge this relationship with our Canadian counterparts. Ambassador Greer, is there any message you would like to give to our Canadian counterparts about getting them to the table? I've met with premiers and met with the parliamentarians from all across the region, the northern Canada, all the way from the north to the south, to the east, everywhere, and west. What would you like? How do we get them to come to the table and bring back this relationship that is so important for our farmers, our business owners, everyone? We value the relationship with Canada, especially someone like me who's grown up just an hour and a half or so from the Canadian border, and really value their friendship, but also want to see them come to the table. I hate to see our great ally being aligned with the People's Republic of China when it comes to trade with the U.S.
A couple things, and first of all, I don't negotiate in public, right? So I'm not going to go into too much detail. But, the second point I'll make is, I have good relationships with my direct counterparts, and we speak. We talk about things. I have been pretty consistent over the past year that if we can, get some changes in Canadian trade practices, it's going to help me get over the political hump that we face here in the United States. So I think there are things that can be done. I've been pretty clear with the Canadians on a variety of things. Anyone can read the national trade estimate to have a sense of the kind of things I've asked them to work on. I'm going to continue having conversations with these folks behind closed doors, but I hope we can get over the hump on some of these things to have significant talks.
Thank you. I really appreciate your effort on these, and let's hope we can come to a great I Love U.S.-Canada Day with our countries coming together.
So there you have it. And hold So, yeah, I felt that was worth playing again, and I'm going to keep that in my queue, and I'll play it again if I have to. Not that I'm sucking up to the Americans, but we should be if we want to stay in business. But, that's how they see it. That's not ranting and raving about things. That's just them speaking normal business talk. They have concerns that make sense. Our dairy farmers are mafioso. I was just talking about this last night. It's a shame. I think the business practices really need to be changed, but I don't think anybody's got the guts to change anything in this country when it comes to the dairy farmers. I don't even think Poilievre's got the cojones to change anything on that. I think it's probably too big of an issue to change. And I don't know that we really need American dairy in here other than maybe cheese. We certainly don't need milk when we're dumping millions of gallons or liters of our own milk. We are, and I've shown videos on that. I've read the information on it, and it can be verified. You can look it up. It's insane. We can't even sell it cheaper. They'd rather dump it than sell it cheaper or give it to the needy. So there you have that. More bullshit. And that's beyond liberals and conservatives. That's a whole other issue that I don't know how you change that. I think people might be ended if that was to be changed. And very quickly to end, I won't play the video. That's like an almost 9-minute video. But Brian Lilly, and we've all noticed this. Have you noticed that Mark Carney changes his message depending on his audience and location? Rupture, deeper integration, New World Order, Canada Strong will make America great again. We are European and will work with you. Yeah, he just flip-flops all over the place. And we're back. So that we're getting to the end here, so we'll end it with a couple of jokes. Sorry once again, I still don't have Mr. Roper's photo up, but we'll just go along with it anyways. Dad joke number 1. I started sleeping with a ruler under my pillow. I wanted to see how long I slept. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. I think I laugh because it's so stupid, but if I laugh because it's stupid and I still laugh because it's stupid, it's a good joke. Does that make sense? Okay, I pre-read this joke, so I had to get the appropriate response ready. A Viking lost his boat the other day. Now he's just hiking.
You suck!
I don't like that one. Okay, let's see what this next one is. Oh. Okay, alright. Let's get the applause. Oh, nope, the crowd laughter. A pirate had his pee stolen. Now he's just irate. Oh, let's just call it a day. 3 podcasts in one day. Oh. Goodness gracious. Anyways, let's get the other one ready. Alright. You see how the sausage is made, folks. Well, thank you so much. Hit like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. Leave some comments. I keep saying that and nobody leaves comments, but I had one dude, I think like a month ago, say I am whatever his name is. So that was kind of random. Anyways, thank you for spending time with me. Hope you learned something. I always do. And except learning how to do a proper podcast. I'm still not doing well at that, but anyways, one day at a time, right? Thank you so much, and you have been a dynamite audience, and you deserve to give yourselves a round of applause. Anyways, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless and all that jazz. Bye for now.